Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly, and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. Today I have some updates in my trading plan that I wanted to share with you guys. Today we're going to be looking at the total market cap for all of crypto as well as the total market cap of the altcoins, so I can give you guys an all-around big picture update on where I'm expecting price to be headed and some updates that have actually recently happened and why I think that we could see one more leg lower, which is going to provide an amazing buying opportunity for all of us long-term investors. Even if we have another sell-off, this is something that we have to start reprogramming our minds towards looking at it as an opportunity and not something that we need to get shaken out of. Many people are going to panic sell, many people are going to expect another massive crash like COVID, and these are the people that are going to miss out on a huge buying opportunity throughout all of the cryptocurrencies in the market. If you're new and just finding this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Make sure that you guys click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos like the one provided for you here. And always remember, guys, I have the very best and the fastest growing Discord community out there for cryptocurrency, and I would really love it if you guys would join. It's free for anybody that wants to. All you guys got to do to join is to click inside of the description of this video, and there you're going to find the invitation link to my Discord server. Once you guys click that and have access, I also offer my more exclusive content like the video course and signals. So if you're somebody that wants to get access to my 20 educational videos to teach you guys how to trade, or you'd rather just follow along with every single trade that I take over this next cycle, make sure that you guys stay all the way to the end of this video because I'm going to be taking a couple minutes to explain how you guys can get signed up, the pros of doing so, and what it's going to take to get you guys going today. Alrighty guys, we got a lot of really cool stuff to talk about. I know that this is going to enlighten a lot of your guys' perspectives, so without further ado, let's jump right into it today. Alrighty guys, so first things first, let's dive into the total market cap of the cryptocurrencies. Now what I want to talk to you guys about with this one is just the potential that I personally see us getting rejected at resistance. Now this is just the way it's looking right now. Obviously it's a very early sign, but with us facing this very major resistance prior for this correction, we're actually starting to close a little bit below it. When I see this type of a setup, obviously we had this support level that we had been holding for a while. Support here, it was support here, and then with this sell-off, this was us flipping it, and now it's starting to act as resistance. So I wanted to give you guys an update because I personally see this as our first large-scale correction that we're going to experience after this initial impulse. Because guys, we've been so blessed and we've been very fortunate to have such a big rise in value. In fact, over 200% in which we rallied from the bottom to the top of this move. Obviously, we're going to experience a lot of corrections over the course of this cycle, and that's why I wanted to keep you guys in the awareness of the potential that we are experiencing our first sell-off. Now, a lot of people, and me included, I actually expected that this was going to be the initial sell-off and this was going to be the end of it, but it's starting to look like we're closing with a lot more weakness here. Other coins that have been leading the market, like Chainlink, have actually started to sell off just a little bit, which makes me feel like the potential is very much here for one more leg lower. And to be quite honest, guys, I am looking forward to this. And obviously, it doesn't sound like that so much on this channel because I'm always looking at the long-term macro view, which is bullish, but I'm really looking forward to one more sell-off. I did manage to get filled on some of my Ethereum bids during the initial sell-off when it crashed down here. I bought some at 340. But unfortunately, I got maxed out on my limits and I wasn't able to buy more. But with us actually coming up into resistance, I wasn't willing to actually invest anymore. I wanted to wait until we got further confirmation, whether we started breaking up or whether we started actually going back down, which in fact, I believe we are headed for one more leg lower. Because of this, I want to actually just make sure that we're all on the same page together, which is why I'm going to go through and really analyze what I think is happening on the shorter time frames and why this is still really no reason to be super bearish. Now, from a couple different perspectives, one of the biggest things that I like to see right here is the fact that we've had this major descending resistance, right? We've broken from this, and we're now just kind of in no man's land. In my opinion, this is going to be us retesting that resistance. We're going to fall and then retest that, and then we're going to get our impulsive move back up that we all been expecting to see, right? In my opinion, this is going to be the last large-scale correction that we get before we actually start heading upwards of that all-time high mark, which, you know, in Bitcoin could take us to anywhere from about 17K to about 20,000 to close out this year. And that's personally what I believe is going to happen. The end of this year is going to see us heading closer and venturing towards that all-time high mark with the potential of us breaking out of it. But that's just me getting a little bit more hopeful. More or less, I do strongly believe that we're going to be at or near that all-time high mark as we enter the end of this new year, right around December, January of 2020, heading into 2021. Now, what it's important to understand, guys, is this oftentimes happens many, many times. We have a descending resistance, and when we break out from that, you know, prices might distance itself pretty far from that trend, which we saw right here, but then we usually always end up falling to retest that, which is personally what I believe is going to be happening right now. Now, a lot of people might be wondering, well, what about the fact that you said we weren't going to be bearish? What about all of this? If we sell off for one more low, does this mean that we're back into the bear trend? Of course not, guys. You guys got to understand that we had such a big impulse heading into this correction that we're experiencing right now. And this is totally normal. This is what's to be expected in a healthy bull trend. And in fact, this is what we want to see as long-term investors. We want to be able to buy into these pullbacks. We want to buy and invest into these dips because this is really the way that we're going to make the majority of our money. And so I just wanted to point this out to you guys. And if we come in here, let's actually analyze an Elliott wave count for you. Now, let's dive to a shorter time frame so that we can fit everything in here that we're going to need, because in my opinion, this is pretty obvious what's taking place. Now, this was wave 1, this was wave 3, and this was wave 5, right? So this is our first little impulse wave, which would complete wave 1. And so the way I would look at this was 1, and now this was 3, and we finished wave 5, right? 5 up here. Now, when I look at this, we can see all of the short-term Elliott waves that we need to see. We have 1, we have 3, we have 5, right? So there's our 3 impulse waves in the 3 wave. And then we got it right here as well. 1, 3, 5, right? And so this is the way I'm personally watching for this. I look at this entire consolidation prior to COVID, after this COVID crash. I look at all of this as just our first impulse of this 3 wave. So this is 1, this is 3, and this is 5. And now we're experiencing our first short-term correction. Now, a lot of you guys might be wondering, well, technically this made a higher high. Why isn't that a 5 wave? And then this is just a first A leg. Well, the reason why I think that is because sometimes with ABC corrections is the C wave can actually go higher, or the B wave can actually go higher than the first impulse. And I think that that's actually what we're seeing right here. And this is going to create a much bigger correction that's going to actually take us back down to retest the descending resistance as support, right? And so that's personally what I'm going to be watching out for. Now, when I look at this and I see this, guys, I look at this and just get super excited because this is just more or less a huge buying opportunity, right? As long-term investors, we are only buying in on those dips. That's when we want to be investing the majority. And for me, I wanted to buy some cheaper Ethereum. And so now that I see this happening inside of the total market cap, I think it's very likely that we're going to experience one more leg lower, which is going to take Bitcoin to fill the CME futures gap and potentially even a little bit lower than that. And it's going to cause altcoins to sell off a little bit as well. Now, this isn't any reason to get shaken out by any means. In fact, this is a huge opportunity here. The fact that we're closing out, you know, starting to enter into that fall season, exactly 1 year from now is when I want to be taking profits. And so I'm looking at this as probably the last good opportunity I'm actually going to have to actually buy and hold into those long-term holds, because I got to be holding at least a year and a day to get that tax break. And so it doesn't make sense for me to be buying, you know, next year at some point, because then I'd have to hold, and my plan shows that we're going to be topping out in the year of 2021. So I don't want to have to hold on and then just have to watch my profits diminish as we start to top out just to get that tax break, because honestly, it's not going to work in my favor in that way. And so I'm looking at this as really the last good opportunity for me to buy, average into those long-term holds and just see what happens. And so really the biggest ones on my list for shopping are going to be Bitcoin, are going to be Ethereum, are going to be XRP. Those are 3 of my big picks right now. Obviously, I'm going to invest into some other ones, but you guys are going to have to follow along in the signals to find out what those are. But those are just the high caps I talked the most about, which I do plan to buy heavy loads when we actually do start to crash inside of this correction, right? And so I just wanted to keep you guys updated because this is looking like a pretty good short opportunity, more or less. So if you're watching this, you know, maybe look to short the market over the next couple weeks, look to catch this one final leg lower, because that's personally what I'm going to be looking to do. I want to make sure that I make a little bit of profit with this, and then I take some of that profit and I'm actually averaging into some more positions, because I just look at this as such a good opportunity. So the first correction that we're experiencing after our first 5 impulse waves up, and so this is going to be the thing that happens time and time again. And in fact, you know, from where we're at, if we drop all the way back down to retest some of these support levels, you're looking at about a 30% correction, which, you know, according to the prior cycle, was pretty customary. You know, we saw these 30% corrections time and time again. Sometimes they were more, sometimes they were less. But we need to understand that this is just going to happen over and over and over again. And in fact, 30% corrections are the normal for an impulsing bullish market. You can see just about every single one of these corrections was about 30%. And this is what I'm expecting to have happen this time around as well. You know, guys, we just had such a huge increase in value, virtually no pullbacks all the way through, and now we're starting to get our first one. So this is no reason to be super shaken out. This is no reason to get super bearish, because we were broken past all descending resistances. This is going to be us flipping that resistance, and so that's the only thing we need to understand here. So don't get shaken out by any means. Understand that this is a long-term approach here, and this is just going to provide an amazing buying opportunity. You know, over the last couple months, 3 months plus at this point, if you would have just looked for a day where altcoins were down 20% plus and you would have just bought that panic, you would have been in profit every single time. And this cycle is going to be no different. In fact, we're going to see another one of those blood days. Everything's going to be red across the board. And when that happens, it's really up to us to be willing to capitalize on that opportunity that has been given, more or less. A lot of people are going to be too scared to do it. Me personally, I have enough confidence with everything that we've seen, the type of impulse that we saw, this V bottom prior to COVID. This is just all huge bullish signs. And that's the most important thing to understand, guys. You got to be willing to buy this panic when we're given it, because this is an amazing, amazing opportunity that we have this chance of just buying up all of this panic right before we actually get this massive breakout. And so, in my opinion, guys, use this as a huge buying opportunity. This isn't me just explaining, oh, it's a buying opportunity, yada, 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 like every other analyst is going to. This is me explaining that by buying this specific dip, this is where we're going to be able to hold a year and a day, and we're still not going to cut, you know, that bull run short by any means. You know, like I said, we're right now at mid-February or mid-September, starting at the early fall of this year. I actually plan to be scaling out of altcoins around December, January of 2021. And so this is going to be a good opportunity for me to catch one last panic before we actually start that major bull run, which I am personally expecting. This to me is merely just the disbelief phase. And if you guys don't understand what that is, I'm going to pull it up right now. So this is the emotional psychology of a market cycle, or the Wall Street cheat sheet. I recommend everybody takes a printout of this, keeps it as a background image or something, because I promise you're going to be able to find this pattern time and time again. And this is just the way that a market cycle works, guys. In my opinion, where we're at right now is disbelief. This is a sucker's rally. Nobody really believes that Bitcoin's bullish. Nobody thinks that we're going to break into new all-time highs. Everybody's too shaken out prior to COVID and all of this nonsense. When in actuality, this is going to be the last good buying opportunity that we have before the bull run, because we can see that disbelief repeats twice. Disbelief. This rally will fail like all others. This is the final sell-off before we actually make that massive market cycle. And then it repeats right here. You know, we go through all of the slow action, the rounded bottom formation. Everybody's too scared to even buy it. But this is where the max point of financial opportunity comes, is at the lowest point of the cycle. Obviously, it doesn't take a genius, but but the kicker here is the fact that when the market cycle is at its lowest, that's when the people are the most scared. And most people aren't willing to buy when everything is scary, when everything is going down. Everybody's too scared to actually do that. But this is what we actually did in 2019 when Bitcoin bottomed at 3,200. You know, I went all in with every bit of money that I had at the time, because I just saw how good of a market cycle that looked. And because of that, I made a decent amount of money. And now I've just been kind of accumulating dollar cost averaging in the lows, the best to my abilities, so that we could capitalize on this move. And this is just kind of in that in-between stage, guys. This is where everybody's still doubting on the cryptos. And this is where we're going to get one good buying opportunity before we do start to really take off. And so I just wanted to keep you guys updated with this sort of analysis. Quickly, let's talk about the altcoin total market cap as well, because this is also, in my opinion, going to sell off for one more low. You know, this was a rejection wick on the weekly, and this is going to be us kind of just ABCing back down. And so that's what I'm going to watch out for here. In my opinion, what we're seeing right now is just an ABC correction after our first 1, 3, and 5 Elliott wave impulse up. A, B, C. And I personally believe that the altcoin total market cap is going to come back down to retest The resistance, the candle body resistance that we saw here at about $109 billion. This is what I'm going to be personally watching for. I think this is going to be a short-term correction before this dip gets bought up with a lot of money, and then we actually start impulsing back up to about $300 billion in market cap. From this level over here at 300 bill, we might experience another short-term correction back down. But overall, I do strongly believe that these corrections aren't going to be too big in size, merely 30% corrections, which, takes us back down, not even back to the cycle highs that we saw here at about 140 billion. But this is just going to be the way it goes, guys. The whole way up, we're going to see these types of dips that are going to get bought up. There's going to be a lot of impulses, and there's going to be a lot of panic that are going to cause people to get shaken out of their long-term investments. I just want you guys to understand that this is going to happen so many times over, and this is just the way it works, guys. There's going to be corrections inside of this market, and we have to do our part by just buying into those corrections because, you don't get these discounts in crypto too often. 30% corrections don't really come a whole lot, but when they do come, if you would have just been able to buy every single one of those, you would have made money. And that's just the way it goes, guys. Now that we're, in my opinion, in the bull market, we've already started to leave this accumulation phase. This is going to be us retesting a high before breaking out and heading to our next resistance at about $300 billion. This is going to happen quickly. And if we weren't ready beforehand, we're not going to be the person making all of the profit. We want to be focusing in on these dips right now because this dip right now is going to provide an amazing buying opportunity. All we're going to do is just retest some prior support levels. Except, previously they were resistance levels, except now they're going to be acting as support for the first time. Super, super key, super important that we're willing to just ignore all of the FUD and stick to this approach, guys. I wanted to make sure that we're all updated with this stuff because, for me, this is an amazing opportunity. I'm going to do everything that I can to max out every single limit I have on all of my exchanges, Coinbase, Binance, all of this stuff. I'm going to be maxing it out because I genuinely just want to catch this dip. I look at this as a huge opportunity for my long-term positions, and I think you guys should really look at it the same way. Whether you take some short-term short opportunities here or whether you just wait to capitalize on the dip, whatever you guys decide to do, understand that I personally am going to be shorting a little bit of this market. Depending on which altcoin it is, I'm going to be posting some shorts because I do really like the opportunity of shorting this for one more leg lower, using some of those profits as firepower to rebuy that dip. I already have cash waiting on the sidelines to reinvest, and so this is just the way I'm going to be personally making this trading plan as follows. Because when I look at this, guys, like I've stated many times in the past, this is merely the exact same consolidation as we saw in the last cycle. Obviously, it can look a little bit different. We impulsed up to here. We're going to correct a little bit back down to retest this level, down in here. But overall, this is going to repeat the same type of market cycle. It doesn't have to look 100% identical. It's already crazy enough to me that it looks this identical already. That is the craziest part about this. Normally with fractals and market cycles, they look similar, but they're more or less just rhyming. This thing looks almost identical in just about every single way imaginable. And so for that, look at this as an opportunity, guys. Look at what happened in the last cycle. Once we actually broke out from those accumulation lows, it was a huge increase in value, and I don't expect this time to be any different. In fact, I expect this cycle to be bigger in a lot of different ways. The fact that there's institutional money in this cycle, the fact that we now have on-ramps for anybody to buy crypto in such easy ways, guys, like Cash App. There's a number of these different things where we can actually buy a lot of Bitcoin instantly, transfer it onto exchange, and buy more altcoins, which are going to be the catalyst here, guys. Altcoins are going to see a huge increase in value, and this is why I've been investing so heavy into these altcoins, is the fact that I expect them to outperform Bitcoin. And when we see just an identical chart pattern and an identical chart setup from the last cycle, I'm going to do my part and just buy that dip because I personally believe that what we're going to experience is a huge market cycle. News outlets are going to be pumping the crap out of Bitcoin and all these other cryptocurrencies. We have people like David Portnoy that are just like a textbook example of a retail trader. And he's got an entire army to throw at this. Can you imagine how excited these people are going to be when these markets are really starting to break out and they're outperforming their entire stock portfolio seemingly overnight over and over and over again? this is going to be the category of the disbelief phase in this correction, guys. We're going to get shaken out. We're not going to get shaken out. Most people are going to get shaken out. But we here are going to buy that dip, and we're going to dollar cost average, and we're going to focus on the long term because this is an amazing opportunity. Anyways, guys, with all that being said, thank you all so much for watching this video. Quickly, before we wrap things up, I wanted to take a couple minutes to explain how you guys can sign up for the video course and signals for the people that actually want to. Now, the video course is going to be 20 educational videos that are going to teach you guys all of my strategies for profiting. If you guys want to learn technical analysis and you want to learn how to actually trade these markets, the video course is going to be the thing for you. Now, the other people that would rather just follow along with all the trades that I take, I post every single one of those inside of my Discord server. So if you guys ever want access to that, all you guys got to do to join is to click inside of the description of this video, and there you're going to find the invitation link to my Discord server. You're also going to be able to find the link to my Selly, which is where you guys can purchase it with credit or debit. If you guys would only rather purchase it in crypto, you guys just have to join for my Discord and then message me on there, and I'll be able to get back to you with all the information needed on how to sign up. But with that being said, guys, check it out. You know, if you're looking to enter this market, you don't really know what you're doing, the video course is going to help you guys a lot. Or you guys can purchase them together and actually end up getting the signals. I recommend going with the signals first and foremost, because at least then you can copy all the trades that I take. You can make some money with me over this next cycle. And then if this is something else that you want to pursue, you can always take some profits and actually purchase that. You guys can buy them together or separate. Once again, links are going to be in the description of this video. So make sure you guys join, make sure you guys sign up and follow along with all of this exciting stuff that I have offered inside of my Discord server. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And with all that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.